guys, so this past weekend I went to SF Sketchfest. I actually will be going to SF Sketchfest for the next 2 weekends. I figured I'd do a recap of the shows I saw each weekend in a 3-part video series. Here is part 1. We started out SF Sketchfest at Woodstock at the Marines Memorial Theater. Woodstock is a night for nerdum, comedy, PowerPoints, music, etc. And the founders are Will Wheaton, Adam Savage, and Paul and Storm. This was my second time of attending Woodstock, and it lived up to every expectation I had from attending it for the first time in 2012. Woodstock is the epitome of my type of humor and references, and I spent all 3 to 4 hours laughing hysterically. I highly recommend attending a Woodstock show if you are ever in the area.
Hours, and they wouldn't take, and then I'd wake up a couple of days later and find that same trick waiting in my hands for me. I learned that these things gestated while you did them and while you slept. That every time you threw a ball, you were burning another iteration into your body, into your brain, into your eyes. I was learning how to learn, and I didn't even realize it. And the most important thing I learned during this time was this. The book even tells you, don't resist the beanbags hitting the ground. Don't try and catch the outliers. Just realize when they go too far in the formation and throw better next time. It's like programming.
For the second show of SF Sketchfest, we went to the Star Talk Live at the North Theater. Star Talk is a great podcast hosted by Neil deGrasse Tyson. However, this show, Bill Nye the Science Guy stepped in as the host. Since I had seen NDT speak in person before, but I had never seen Bill Nye in person, this was a substitution I did not mind. The panel also includes Scott Hubbard, who among his many accomplishments includes serving as the director of NASA Ames, Dr. Yvonne Pendleton, a notable NASA Ames astrophysicist, and John Benjamin and Eugene Merman for comedic input. I really love the combination of science and comedy that Star Talk provides, and it was great seeing this in person after catching up with the whole catalog of episodes last fall. Seeing Bill Nye speak in person was amazing to this girl who learned science as a child, mainly through Bill Nye videos. The third show we went to see was the Pop My Culture podcast at the Eureka Theater. This show was a little less attended than some of the other shows we went to, but it didn't matter to me because my love for Pop My Culture is strong. I've listened to every episode and have been following Cole Stratton and Vanessa Ragland for years. The guests for the show were James Adobian, Ron Funches, and Ryan Lambert. It was a great show, and I was really excited I finally got to make it to a live show for this podcast. The fourth show of the weekend was Invite Them Up with Eugene Merman and Bobby Tisdale at Cobb's Comedy Club. This is a stand-up show, and the guests were Derek Brown, Ron Funches, Pete Holmes, and John Darnell of the Mountain Goat. Also a very short appearance by Natasha Leggero. We were in the very front row of the tables, and it was fantastic. I really loved Ron Funches and Pete Holmes for a while, and it was really awesome to finally see them do their stand-up live. John Darnell played 3 songs and told funny stories in between, and that was very surreal. It was also a notable night in which I used Uber for the first time and didn't get home till after 1 a.m. like a true 24-year-old. The final show of the first weekend we went to was an afternoon with Animaniacs at the Marines Memorial Theater. This featured 3 lead voice actors from Animaniacs, Rob Paulsen, Jess Harnell, and Tress MacNeille, as well as Randy Rogel, who wrote for Animaniacs and created many of the songs featured on the cartoon. This was a fantastic show. I thought I would enjoy it, but this show blew my expectations out of the water. They talked a lot about making the show and did many of the songs from the show. I'm really glad I got a chance to see the show, as it was an amazing tribute to a part of so many of our childhoods.
Everybody lives on a street, in a city, or a village, or a town, for what it's worth. And they're all inside a country, which is part of a continent that sits upon a planet known as Earth. And the Earth is a ball full of oceans and some mountains, which is out there spinning silently in space.
She's walking down, everybody turns around and shouts, "Hello, nurse!"
Flown out the door, let's be on our way.
Hey, watch out!
What's the matter?
You almost knocked me off the ladder.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. I almost fell.
Don't exaggerate.
I'm not.
Yeah, right.
Are you trying to pick a fight?
You get it out of my face.
Well, you're always in my space.
Hey, get off each other's case because we're trying to get along.
I want pancakes or a waffle. This tastes awful, is that all we've got? Can't find my clothes and I need to blow my nose, and my socks are full of holes and my shoelace has a knot.
That's my
not.
Well, it's sitting in my slot.
No, it isn't. This one's mine and that one's yours.
Well, you're standing in my way.
Yeah, that's tough.
Louisiana, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Columbus is the capital of Ohio. There's Montgomery, Alabama, South Dakota, Montana, then there's Denver, Colorado, and Boise, Idaho. Texas has Austin, Berkeley, Vermont, to Massachusetts, Boston, Albany, Road.
We're maniacs. We have pay or play contracts. We're taking to the max. There's baloney in our sacks. We're enemy, totally insane.
Pinky and the brainy, Eisenhower Maney, brainy and splainy, don't explain or complainy. Kansas and Laney, look there's Dick Cheney.
India, Pakistan, Burma, Afghanistan, Thailand, Nepal, Bhutan, Cambodia, Malaysia, the Bangladesh, Asia, and China, Korea, Japan, Mongolia, Laos, Tibet, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Taiwan, Sri Lanka, New Guinea, Sumatra, New Zealand, the Borneo, and Vietnam, Indonesia, Morocco, Uganda, Angola, Zimbabwe, Djibouti, Botswana, Mozambique, Zambia, Swaziland, Gambia, Guinea, Algeria, Ghana. Nigeria, Canada, Nigeria, Egypt, Benin, Gabon, Tanzania, Somalia, Kenya, and Mali, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Dahomey, Namibia, Senegal, Libya, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Guinea, Bissau, Madagascar, Rwanda, Myanmar, Cayman, Hong Kong, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Yugoslavia, Korea, Mauritania, then Pennsylvania, Monaco, Liechtenstein, Monaco, Palestine, Fiji, Australia, Sudan.
That's a recap of my first weekend at SF Sketchfest. Looking forward to the next 2 weekends.